Dallas. As you said, the perimeter for Dallas, the shooting, not backing down. Barea, oh, look at that.
Oh, God.
That is Bynum. He will be ejected, and that's one of the biggest Bush League things I've ever seen. That is terrible.
Yeah, that's just dirty. I mean, look at JJ Barea on the floor, grimacing and groaning. It's a total cheap shot. Totally unnecessary. This is probably the dirtiest play I've ever seen in my life, with my own 2 eyes at least. I mean, it's basically got him kicked out of the league. The last play I even remember him doing. I mean, he spent a little bit of time with the Sixers, but no one remembers that at all. So would I say Andrew Bynum's a dirty player? I wouldn't. I mean, he was just taking out his frustration on this one day, and it's the only thing I remember him doing ever that was dirty at all. So just an honorable mention for today. These next 8 players, they are the top 8 dirtiest players in the league, with the countless times of being dirty. But remember, this is just my opinion, and what I have to say about it. Let's get to it. Coming in at number 8, we have Kevin Garnett. Now, you're probably going to think this is low on the list, but after you see all the other players ahead of him, you'll believe me. One story about Kevin Garnett that you guys probably don't know is about Charlie Villanueva. Charlie Villanueva was a longtime player for the Detroit Pistons. He played a lot against Kevin Garnett in his career. Kevin Garnett was famous for calling him a cancer patient. Charlie Villanueva is someone who suffers from alopecia, who can't grow hair. It doesn't mean he's a cancer patient, it means he can't grow hair. This is just one instance of Kevin Garnett being a dirty player. I mean, let's take a look at this play with Kevin Garnett and Mike Miller. Kevin Garnett goes and sets the screen and just elbows him right down to the floor. I mean, what does he expect D-Wade to do? He has to stand up for his teammate. He has to shove him. Countless times we see Kevin Garnett acting like the victim. It was like when you were back in school. Someone would do something to you, you do something to retaliate, and then you're the one that gets in trouble. That's just Kevin Garnett to a T. Now, something else Kevin Garnett was famous for was hitting people in the nuts when they went up for shots. Like this on Channing Frye. I mean, that's just unnecessary. That's just dirty. Every man knows that this is the spot that's off limits. It's an unwritten rule. It's the bro code. I mean, Kevin Garnett just doesn't understand that because he's a dirty player. Here it is one more time, in another angle. Gosh, that just disgusts me. Coming up at number 7, we have Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen is better known from his Duke days. There are many instances of people saying that he's a dirty player, and in my opinion, it overshadowed what he did at Duke. Looking at his stat sheet, you can see that his best season was his sophomore year, 21.6 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, and was even able to bring home a championship in 2014 to 2015. Anyone would say that that's an amazing career at Duke. But when he does plays like that and trips people with for no reason, or when he does plays like this and pumps this UNC player to the ground in transition, I mean, someone's going to get hurt. He needs to learn to do something different. He needs to stop being a dirty player. Plays like these and all the other plays you can find out on the internet are reasons why he's a dirty player. Let's check out this last play when he steps underneath James Harden's ankle, trying to injure it. I mean, it's like the Zaza Pachulia play on Kawhi Leonard. You know he's going to be on the list. But yeah, I mean, look, he's trying to injure James Harden's ankle. That's just messed up. That's just dirty. Yeah, that's why he's number 7 on the list. Coming in at number 6, we have Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe Mutombo is someone that was famous for his finger wave. This finger wave inspired many of the young NBA athletes today to do the same and to tell the people that they can't do that in my house. This is their territory. They are protecting the paint. To name a few players that have done this in the NBA, players like Joel Embiid, Jonas Valanciunas, and Amari Stoudemire have done this over their careers. Although these are just a few examples that have happened in the NBA, it shows that Dikembe Mutombo has had an effect on the league. Everything that he has done has made the younger players want to do that too. He has had a lasting effect on the NBA. But let's get back to the real reason why we're on this video, to talk about how dirty of a player he is. Here's a list of everything that he's done this dirty in his career. He's done things like broken noses, knocked people senseless, bloodied noses, hit people in the head. I mean, heck, he has 5 broken noses on this list. Feel free to pause the video and read everything that he has done in his career. But yeah, it's pretty bad. The list that was just displayed on the screen makes him the number 6th dirtiest player to ever step foot on an NBA basketball court. Coming in at number 5, we have Karl Malone, better known as the Mailman, the running man with John Stockton. Before we get into how dirty he was as a player, I need to tell you about his story from when he was at Louisiana Tech University. While there, he reportedly impregnated a 13-year-old girl named Gloria Bell. In 1984, Bell ended up giving birth to their son, Demetrius. Malone was 20 years old at the time. Gloria's parents took Malone to court for paternity in 1986, but he was never charged with the crime or forced to pay any expenses. Malone eventually agreed to an on-court settlement with Bell's family a few years later. After the birth of his son, Malone refused to have a relationship with Demetrius. The two didn't meet until Bell was 17 years old. I mean, come on. That's just messed up. He was 20 years old and had relations with a 13-year-old girl. Tells you what kind of man Karl Malone is. But let's get back to how dirty of a player he is. Karl Malone was someone famous for elbowing players in the face. He one time even elbowed Isaiah Thomas so hard, made him get 40 stitches. Let's take a look at that play.
He comes down slower than any guy in the league. Driving. Down he goes, Isaiah. We got a whistle. Isaiah's eyes cut badly. Oh, he took a blow to the head.
In the first angle, you can't really tell if it's on purpose, but from this angle you can tell that Karl Malone purposely elbows Isaiah Thomas in the face. This would later cause Isaiah Thomas to need 40 stitches in his head. Just a terrible play by Karl Malone. Karl Malone is famous for elbowing people in the face. Along with the other story that he did impregnating a 13-year-old girl, Karl Malone's just a bad guy. But being a bad guy doesn't make him one of the dirtiest players in the league. It's elbowing people in the face and causing them to get 40 stitches. So, this is why Karl Malone is number 5 on my list in the top dirtiest players ever to step foot on NBA court. Coming in at number 4, we have Ron Artest, or better known as Metta World Peace later in his career. How can someone change the name to Metta World Peace and be one of the dirtiest players in the league? I mean, I think he just did it so people would think he's a peaceful player, but really, he's just a dirty player. Let's take a look at this play that he did on James Harden that explains him completely. He goes up for the dunk, then beats his chest like he got that, and then just knocks James Harden out of the way. I mean, it's just completely unnecessary. It explains him completely. And reason number 1 why he's a dirty player. Some other things he has done are Malice at the Palace, where he went in, bought a fan in the stands, and pantsing Paul Pierce for no apparent reason. I mean, you ever had the right to pants someone? No. And then he goes and gives this apology. Let's play it.
Paul, I'm so sorry to humiliate you on TV by pulling your shorts down. I won't do it again.
I mean, does Ron Artest even look sorry? I'm sorry, Paul, but I won't do it again. I don't think he's sorry at all. He definitely would do it again. This, and everything else Ron has done in his career, makes him number 4 dirtiest player on my list. Coming in at number 3, we have Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer was the captain of the Bad Boy Pistons. He was one of the first stretch bigs the league has ever seen. But that's not what made him famous. What made him famous was that Laimbeer was the baddest of the Bad Boy Pistons, and he offered no apologies for it. He said he did what he had to do in order to win. And he did win a lot. I mean, 2 rings speaks for itself. If there was a cheap shot that needed to be done, Bill Laimbeer was always willing to step up and do that, if it meant leading his team to victory, of course. One interesting thing about Bill Laimbeer is that he helped implement the Jordan Rule and perfect it. In a book by Sam Smith called The Jordan Rules, it said this: the Pistons advertised their Jordan Rules as some secret defense that only they could deploy to stop Jordan. Those secrets were merely a series of funneling defenses that channeled Jordan toward the crowded middle. But Detroit players and coaches talked about them as if they had been devised by the Pentagon. This strategy would allow Bill Laimbeer to win 2 championships. But I think Bill Laimbeer is better known for his dirtiness as a player. I don't think people remember his championships as much as they remember his dirty play. I mean, his biggest thing is his 30 for 30 documentary on the Bad Boy Pistons. If he didn't have that, I don't think anyone would remember him in the league today. So if you ask me what defines Bill Laimbeer, it would be that he's a dirty player. And that is what makes him number 3 on my list of dirtiest players of all time. Coming in at number 2, we have Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen spent a long time of his career at the San Antonio Spurs. He's the type of player that does the dirty things that the refs don't see. Steps underneath your foot when you go up for a jump shot, kicks the player like he did in this play. You probably didn't see it because it wasn't from a good angle. But as you can see, Kobe, who's a really, really tough player, doesn't really hurt from anything, is grimacing and up limping. Let's watch the replay and see what actually did happen from the other angle. As you can see, Bruce Bowen's defending Kobe, and as he jumps up, he just kicks him right in the leg. I don't know why he feels like it's necessary to do that. Bruce Bowen is a dirty player because he does things that purposely try and injure you. He's trying to get you off the court. He's not just trying to win the game, he's trying to beat you. He's trying to injure you. This next play proves just that, and let's take a look at it.
And stuck it back in. Robinson, but he had trouble getting the proper grip for that shot. And a tripping foul on Parker.
Probably missed it, but if you couldn't see it, Bruce Bowen stepped right over Kobe and right on his wrist. Right here we'll see the replay and it'll show us exactly what happened. Again, this is proof why Bruce Bowen was trying to injure Kobe and why he's such a dirty player. This next play is just a dirty play. Bruce Bowen literally kicks this guy in the face. It doesn't need any introduction, it doesn't need any explanation, it's just dirty. These plays and all the plays that have happened in Bruce Bowen's career are reasons why he's the second dirtiest player ever to play the game. Last but not least, he doesn't need an introduction, Zaza Pachulia. Basically in the league because he's dirty. Because he's willing to do things like this to Russell Westbrook. He's willing to knock him over, he's willing to get technicals, he's willing to get flagrants, he's willing to knock the players down, he's willing to do the dirty work. Oddly enough, this isn't the only incident he's run in with Russell Westbrook. There was a time when he just landed on him for no apparent reason. Let's take a look at that.
Westbrook, the high dribble. Forced that one up. Bodies falling on the floor. Here comes Curry.
I mean, look at this. Why is he falling? Why is he trying to land on his leg? Why is he trying to get him out of the game? That's just messed up. Again, just another dirty play by Zaza Pachulia. Of all the plays that Zaza Pachulia has participated in, this would have to be the dirtiest. Kawhi Leonard goes up for the shot, and Zaza Pachulia just steps underneath him, basically kicking him out of the playoffs. As you can see, the Warriors were down 21 points at this point. With a deficit like that, it would be nearly impossible for them to come back. That's when Zaza Pachulia came in and literally wrecked Kawhi Leonard's ankle. This opened up the door for the Warriors to come back. I mean, who knows what would happen in this series? Maybe the Spurs could have won. Maybe they could have made it to the championship instead of the Warriors. We never know. But one thing we do know is that if Kawhi was on the court and healthy, the Warriors weren't going to come back from a 21-point deficit. Remember, in the end, this is all just my opinion. Comment below who you think the dirtiest players in the league ever are. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'm Hoop Rat.